Hi Year 5, happy Monday, hope you're all okay. I am here to bring you your very first English lesson of our home learning. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing in English this half term, because it's going to be obviously a little bit different to how we would usually do it. One of the reasons for this is because we are going to be writing a story for the whole of this half term. So the whole of this half term, we are going to be writing a story. So when you get to the end, you'll have a really fabulous narrative based off our book, Asher and the Spirit Bird. And the way that we're going to do this is each week you are going to write one paragraph of your story. So we know to start with, that might sound a little bit scary, that might sound a bit intimidating that you've got to write a whole story, but we are going to be breaking it down into all of its little parts, and we're just going to write one paragraph at a time. So that's nice and manageable for us. All we need to do each week is one paragraph, and we're going to be here every step of the way to help you do that. So the first paragraph, I'm just going to share my screen, is going to be all about here we go, the joys of technology. Is going to be all about our spirit animal. So as we should be able to remember from story time last week, as we can see from the title of our book, our title is called Asher and the Spirit Bird. Now we're going to reread the character description for Asher's Spirit Bird in a moment. But what you are going to be able to do by the end of this week is you are going to design your own spirit animals. It doesn't have to be a bird. And then you are going to write a character description to introduce your animal. Now, when you come to write your story, this animal will be kind of like your character's spirit animal. So it's going to be kind of a big part of your story, because that spirit animal is going to guide your character, just like how in Asher the Spirit Bird, Asher's bird guides her. So today what we are going to do is we're going to be identifying the features of a character description and using our inference skills to visualize a character. So just like we would in class, we're going to be having a look at a waggle, we're going to be identifying the features, then we're going to have a go at using our inference skills to actually use that character description to kind of visualize that character as well. Then we're going to have a quick look at, a deeper look, into the features of a character description, having a look at some figurative language. So I know it all sounds like a lot. We are going to break it down and we are going to do it in little steps, one bit at a time. So just have a pen and paper ready and we're going to get started. So the first thing I want you to do, it's a nice easy task, is I want you to, on a blank piece of paper or on any piece of paper, just to make myself a little bit smaller so you can see the screen. Oh, there we go. Is I want you to draw yourself one of these tables. Now, this is so along the way you can magpie lots of ideas from the different waggles and things that we do. So when you come to write your character description on Thursday, you will already have lots of ideas there to help you from what we've done throughout the week. Now, if you're looking at some of these words and you're thinking, I don't know what that means, that's making me feel a bit confused because I've not seen those words before, don't panic, okay? We are going to be covering them all this week. So by the end of the week, you will know what all of those words mean and you will have a grid filled with lots of ideas that you can use. So this I'm going to kind of be calling our magpie grid. This is where you're going to put anything that you want to magpie throughout the week. You're going to put it into this grid here. So you're going to want to keep it nice and safe. Obviously this one, descriptive language and adjectives, we all know that adjectives are words that describe a noun, okay, so we can include any adjectives that we hear that we might want to include in our own character description here. So pause the video now, get that drop, and then play when you're ready to carry on. Wonderful. Right, what we are going to do now then is we're going to reread the character description from Asher and the Spirit Bird. So this is actually the description that is used by Jasbinder Bilan to describe the Spirit Bird. Okay, there's lots and lots of really good descriptive language and adjectives in here which really help us to visualize what the Spirit Bird looks like. Now, rather than me just reading at you and you visualizing in your head, we're going to turn this into a little bit of a drawing activity. So it's going to be an inference activity. Using your inference skills, you're going to have a go at drawing Asher's Spirit Bird. So you're going to be listening to what I am saying, and you can read the character description back as well if you would prefer. You're going to see how much information you can pick out to help you visualize this character, this bird. Now this is going to help us because if we can visualize a character from this character description, we might be able to use some of those features that have been used here in our own work to help other people visualize, so they create a mental image in their minds of their character, of your spirit animal, sorry. So get a pen and paper ready. It doesn't have to be a work of art. This is just to get the idea that we're kind of taking this piece of work and it's kind of coming to life off the screen for us. It's not just about the words. These words are going to create an image in our mind. Okay, so having a piece of paper and a pencil at the ready. You can pause the video at any time if you want to have a bit longer to do your drawing, but I am just going to read out our description of our bird. So, way above, a half-moon appears through the burnished evening clouds, lighting up the wings of the circling Lamagia, a bearded vulture, and for some reason it makes me think of Nanaji. It's about the size of a lamb with dark bronze wings and a grey beak. Golden feathers cover its head and the rest of its body. It struts around the crumbling wall and begins pecking as if it's looking for grains of wheat. Then it spreads its wings, which are far wider than my outstretched arms, and lands right beside me, right there on the ground. Even though its wings are now folded, the bird is colossal. They usually keep away from people, but I'm so close I can see each bright yellow scale on its legs and its grey ridged talons, which it uses to scratch the ground. The Lamagia starts making a clucking sound, as if trying to tell me something, and I stare into its dark flecked eyes, mesmerised. I feel a little heart patter of nerves, but I lean even further forward, stretching my fingers towards its feathery wing. It hops away, perching back on the well, tilts its head to one side, and lifts its wings. I wish you were my Nanaji, I say, my voice quivering. I need her so much. A grey feather tinged with gold floats down and lands on my foot. I stroke its silky softness and weave it into my plait. Perhaps I'll call you my spirit bird. It keeps looking at me, unfurls its powerful wings again, and this time rises into the grey-white sky, billowing dried shisham leaves into the air like dust. Okay, so that is our character description for our spirit bird. What you're going to have a go at doing now is you're going to use that description to see how much you can visualise that character, that bird, and you're going to have a go at doing a quick drawing of the bird to test our inference skills. So you can just pause the video now, and then you can play when you're ready to move on to our next task. Wonderful. Hopefully we've all had a go. At the end, I'm going to show you what the bird really looked like, okay? But obviously, there is no right or wrong answer. It's just about creating that image in your mind. So hopefully we can see some of the features and some of the language there used helped you to imagine Asher's spirit bird. What we're going to have a go at doing now is we're going to have a look at a waggle that is slightly simpler, kind of a bit shorter than the one we've just looked at. And this is going to be the waggle that we're kind of going to try and recreate with our own spirit animal at the end of the week. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it on the screen. I'm going to give you a bit of time to have a look at our waggle. And when you are looking at our waggle, I want you to have a look to see which features you can identify in our waggle. Okay, so there might be grammar features. It might be similes and metaphors. It might be adjectives, descriptive language. Okay, have a look through our waggle and see what you can see. Now, I've used this word here, magpie. So if there's anything that you can see in our waggle that you might want to magpie because you think, oh, I might want to steal that for when I come to write my character description, if there's any words that you quite like, you can. So just want you to pause the video now, have a look at our waggle. Is there any features, thinking about our rainbow grammar especially, that you can see that you might want to use in your own, any features that you can identify that you recognise. So pause the video now. Wonderful, and we're going to have a quick look at this together. So I can see, from beneath the vivid green canopy of the mango tree, a magnificent creature appeared, his great hooves plodding gently along the grassy path. So I can see from beneath the vivid green canopy of the mango tree, that is telling me where, which hopefully you're shouting at your screens right now. That is an adverbial phrase, which is telling me where. Its mane and tail were tinged with fiery hues of orange and red, like flames from a fire pit. Now, using this word like flames from a fire pit, it's a simile. And you've done a little bit on metaphors and similes last year, but we're going to look a bit deeper into that today. But that is a simile because it's saying they are like flames from a fire pit. Although his coat was as dark as the night sky, it somehow glinted in the late summer sun. Here, I've got a subordinating conjunction, although, which tells me this is a subordinate clause, which tells me this is a complex sentence. I've also got another simile because I've got that its coat was as dark as the night sky. Like an old friend, the horse bowed its head and gently snorted, as if warmly greeting me. Again, like an old friend is an adverbial phrase, and it is telling me, hopefully you're screaming at your screen, how. If I caught a glimpse of his kind golden eyes, I instinctively knew the horse had a heart of gold and the courage of a lion. Now again, I've got a subordinate clause here because I'm starting with a subordinating conjunction. And I also have two metaphors. Now, metaphors are slightly different to similes because they say something different to literal meaning. If those words all sounded like gobbledygook, do not panic because we are going to look more at what this means in just a few minutes. So heart of gold is a metaphor because the horse doesn't actually have a heart of gold, okay, but we are saying we think it's very kind. Is it here to guide me in my time of need? Rhetorical question, doesn't really require an answer, okay, it is just a question to get the reader thinking. So that is our waggle, and by the end of the week, hopefully we can all produce something similar to this, but it's going to be about our own animal. Here, I've written about a horse, okay, my waggle is about a horse. However, your waggle can be about a different animal, which we're going to get onto more tomorrow. So, just like I said before, today we're going to be looking a little bit deeper into this idea of similes and metaphors. Now, similes and metaphors are a type of figurative language, so we're zooming in to look at these two types. Now, you did do this in year 4, so if you want to pause the video now, just to have a little think, you might want to have a little chat to yourself. If there's someone else in your house, you might want to talk to them, okay? What are similes and metaphors? I just want you to pause the video now and have a little think, see how much you can remember from year 4. Wonderful, let's have a look, and hopefully you've had a little talk with someone at home, or you've had a little think in your own head. Now we're going to have a look at what a simile and a metaphor is. Now, when we're talking about what a simile and metaphor is, you might want to write these things down in your purple books, so that way you've got it for the rest of the week and you can remember what they are. So at any point you want to pause the video to write something down so you can remember it, that is completely fine, and it is up to you. So what are similes and metaphors? Well, similes and metaphors are types of figurative language that make comparisons to other objects or things. So similes and metaphors basically just compare things to something else, which makes the reader, which helps the reader to be able to visualize, to be able to see in their head what is being described. So a simile is a comparison of two different things using like or as. So you'll always be able to recognize a simile because it will always use either the word like or as. For example, as brave as a lion. Okay, I've got that word as. I'm not saying they are a lion, I'm saying they are as brave as one. Shone like a star in the night sky. They've shone like a star in the night sky. They're not a star in the night sky, but they've shone like one. Okay, so we're getting this idea that a simile is a comparison of two different things. Okay, so for example, you might say his eyes shone like a star in the night sky. So you're comparing the eyes and the star, okay, by saying they both shine in the night sky. Okay, you're comparing those two things, but we are using the words as or like. Whereas a metaphor is a little bit different because a metaphor is saying something different from its literal meaning. Now, we looked at this word literal quite a lot if you want to rewind your brains back to when we looked at idioms. Now, idioms are very similar to metaphors, okay, because they basically mean you're saying something which isn't really true in real life, okay? So, for example, my pulse was racing. Well, actually, that's more of kind of a saying, your pulse wasn't actually racing, okay? That wasn't actually happening. That's different from its literal meaning, which is actually just my pulse was beating, was going very quickly. Their teeth are white daggers. Now, their teeth aren't really white daggers, so we're saying something different to the literal meaning, okay? This word literal just kind of means real life, okay? If you're being literal, that is something that is true in real life. So this is different to real life because their teeth aren't actually white daggers. We're just using that as a comparison so we can imagine the teeth are pointy and sharp, just like white daggers. Okay, so that is a metaphor. I think what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be having a little listen. Hopefully it's going to work. I think I've already... Here we go. We're going to have a little listen to a few bits of music, and I think you might recognise some of these songs. Now, when you are listening to the songs, you might want to be writing this on a piece of paper, or you might even want to write them on your magpie sheet. I want you to have a listen to see if you can hear any similes or metaphors in these songs. Now, similes are going to use those words like or as, so similes are a bit easier to recognise. Okay, we might find that easier to start with, whereas metaphors are just saying something is different to what it really is. Okay, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, we're just going to watch a couple of minutes to see if we can recognise any of the similes and metaphors, just to practice. Now we have that new knowledge of recognising these things in real life. So let's have a little watch. I'm filming. And I'm just going to pause that there because I've already heard a few different examples and it's got me thinking about how I can use similes and metaphors in my own work as well, from hearing how they've been used in different songs. So I just magpied a few of those. These are the couple that I picked up on. So sparkle like a wealthy woman's neck. Is that going to be a simile or a metaphor? What do we think? Just have a little think in your brain. Hopefully you are thinking it is a simile, because sparkling like a wealthy woman's neck, we can hear that word like, okay, remembering that simile always uses like or as to compare two things. Then the other one that I wrote down was love is an open door. Now, what do we think? Is this going to be a simile or is this going to be a metaphor? A little think. And hopefully we realise that love is an open door is going to be a metaphor, because love isn't really an open door. That's kind of different to its literal meaning, to its real meaning, but we know it's not a simile because they've not used like or as. They've not said love is like an open door, they've said love is an open door, which is telling me that that is a metaphor. Wonderful, well done if you picked up on some of those similes and metaphors that you've heard. What we are going to do now then, as your kind of task for today, is, here is a lamadja, which is a word I think I'm pronouncing correctly, and that is what Ash's spirit bird is. So if you drew a picture that looks anything like this at the start, I'll be very, very impressed, because this is not really something that we recognise, not a type of animal that we see in the UK. This is a bearded vulture. So this is the animal that was being described at the beginning. Now, your task for today, so I'm going to let you go in a minute, your task for today is going to be to see if you can think of any similes or metaphors to improve the description of the bird. Okay, so can you think of any of this figurative language to help you describe Ash's spirit bird? Now, it's up to you how you want to present this. You might just make a list of them. You could write them into your magpie sheet, so you have them when you come to describe your own animal. And then you can just take a picture of whatever you've done, and you can send upload it to your portfolio, because we'd love to see some of the creative writing that some of the creative things that you've come up with to help you describe Ash's spirit bird. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to think of similes and metaphors, and obviously if we were at school we'd probably be using resources like talking to each other. We'd use resources like our descriptosauruses and our thesaurus. Okay, obviously you don't have that at home, or you might have some of those things, but you might want to use the internet as well to help you. Okay, if you have a look on the internet, there are lots and lots of similes and metaphors that you might want to take inspiration from. Okay, or you can just have a go at thinking of them by yourself. That is going to be everything for today. Just remember to take a picture of what you've done and send it to us. Sorry, I keep saying send it. Upload onto your portfolio so we can have a look. And we are ready to do lots and lots of spirit bird similes and metaphors to help us make this description even better. That is going to be everything from me today. Looking forward to seeing how you are getting on, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.